Welcome to the KC Ingram Show Meet Your Candidate series. No spin, no agenda, no endorsements, just the candidate. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the many listeners who submitted questions for this interview. Several of those questions have been incorporated into today's discussion. Questions are not shared with the candidates prior to the interview. If you enjoy the show and would like to stay informed on local issues and elections, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm Casey Ingram. Let's get into it. Jennifer Russell is running for Martin County School Board District 3. Welcome to the show, Jen. How are you today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Can you tell viewers a little bit about yourself and what life experiences and qualifications have prepared you to serve on the Martin County School Board?
Sure. My husband and I live here in Hope Sound with our two children. Well, I say children, one's a grown adult now, which is hard to believe.
Yeah.
But my background has been pretty diverse. Years ago, I worked for a building supply company. There, I did accounting work as well as I did accounts receivable, as well as being an office manager. Ended up quitting that job to stay home with my son for a couple years because he kind of had a rough start. So just getting him on track. After that, I worked for a private school. And there I did accounts receivable, payable, payroll, did all the financial administration, as well as running the school. I helped to build it. It was small when I got there. And, they just had pre-K 3 and 4 in the academy. And then I helped to build all the way from infants all the way up. And it was a neat experience. Loved it. We had before and after care. We had a summer camp program. It was a great experience. Loved it so much. And when my husband and I moved here with our family, it was a way that I felt I could give back here in our community, and because it was something that I love to do. It was a passion of mine. And so that's a little bit of my background.
Thank you for that. And another question, did your children attend or do they currently attend Martin County Public Schools?
No, they don't. But it was a personal decision for us. Our son has some unique needs, and, that's something that we decided to do to, really get him where he needed to be. But
one shoe doesn't fit all, does it?
no, it doesn't. And I'm a firm believer in that. You have to find what works best for your kids.
So Martin County schools generally perform well compared to many districts across Florida. What do you believe the district is doing well, and where do you see the greatest opportunity for improvement?
Right now, I feel like have made so many great strides. I'm so excited. We've got our A rating back after having a 7-year lapse. And we should continue that A again this year when the results come out. We're looking forward to that. But we did make great strides in our reading proficiencies. Yesterday we had a ton of information come out from DOE that was released for our not school grades. That's not out yet, but for our proficiencies for all of our different subjects. And we actually performed at an all-time high. It's historic. It's the highest we've ever tested since the inception of testing for Martin County.
Wow.
So we're very excited. It's something to be so proud of because that means our kids are making great strides. They are improving. We are, getting results for them. And that's what's so important because we want to set them up for success.
That is really good news. I hadn't heard that yet. So I appreciate you sharing it with us. It's impressive. And a lot of that was with the reading scores because that was something we were struggling with.
Yes, that is, there's still work to be done. We are not where we need to be until we get to the top for our kiddos. But we made strides there. We were number 4 in geometry for the state. Civics, we were up, I want to say it was 8th place in the state. But there were several great takeaways.
Fantastic. Another question. FAST scores and other academic metrics have shown improvement in recent years. What specific actions would you support to continue accelerating student achievement? Please be as specific as possible. So I guess we're kind of doubling down on our previous question here.
Well, and that's okay. It does go back to that. And honestly, one of the things a change that was made this year in our curriculum was implementing UFly. We changed from foundations for our reading to UFly. And personally, I saw the great results that we had because I do work in several different classrooms throughout the county in different schools, elementary schools. And I work in one that's a support classroom. And this is going to be my 5th year doing that. And it was, one of the things that the teacher and I were talking about towards the end of the year, because at the beginning, you're apprehensive when you have a change. As a teacher, they get used to something and it's like, oh, here comes another change. What is this going to look like? So by the end of the year, we saw such impressive gains with the students that were in that classroom versus previous years. And so We're very excited, I think, as a whole, to see what's going to come of this and how we can build on this in the future.
Fantastic. Now, teacher recruitment and retention are frequently discussed during campaigns. Beyond simply saying we need to support teachers, what specific policies or initiatives would you champion or continue to champion in your case to attract and retain high quality educators?
Well, obviously, retaining our high quality educators and attracting them here to Martin County is extremely important. We can't do it without them. All success really comes from them. And so they work so hard every day. And I've seen it in the classrooms. I've witnessed it, and I know that they care so much. And so to make sure that they are feeling valued, I think there's multiple ways that that's done. It's not just monetary, although that's extremely important. So we have focused on that since I've been on the board. We have one of the things that we've done is we are the highest on the Treasure Coast for starting pay. Also, the second year, we addressed compression. So we really worked on that to make sure everyone, because what was happening is you had TSIA money coming in at that point, which was the governor's money that he was putting in to kind of boost that bottom end for
Okay.
new starting teachers. But then you have that compression issue. So we worked our second year to really address that. And then on top of that, making sure that we're able to give raises, obviously, that are sustainable over time because it's a recurring expense. But then also add in things and be innovative. Like we partnered I guess it's been 2.5 years, three ago on with Bloomboard, Lake Erie College, and it offers our paras, anyone who had a 2-year degree already, it gave them a pathway for them to get a bachelor's degree and at no cost to them. And being able to use some of the time that they're in the classroom to be able to take that and apply that as a credit. So we had our first cohort this last year with that graduated from that, and they're able to stay with us. And then now we've decided, well, we haven't technically decided, it's been brought forth to us, but we have an opportunity to do somewhat of the same thing at a cheaper cost, but same results with a local partner, IRSC. So I'm excited about that. But to
Yes.
be able to give those types of things, the $6,500 that we give towards insurance, wanting to do more for that. But I think all the benefits being, giving it in multiple layers, not just one thing, and also making them feel valued is extremely important.
So when you talked about the compression, you're talking about the long-term teachers that have been there a while compared to a starting salary. You boosted up the starting salary, but we're also looking for some way to address your teachers that have been here long term. Is that what you're meaning
Hmm.
by compression?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, when we're looking at upper salary limits, you kind of just touched on it now. I just want you to expand a little bit more. There's also more than just a base salary to look at, right? It's additional benefits. You
Hmm.
just mentioned, a college degree of 4 years
Yes.
that may or may not help some of your senior teachers. But what other things are helping the senior teachers?
Well, what we're having to do is really, I mean, there's stipends. So obviously, a senior teacher, most of the time, they're having master's degrees, they're having upper education, so there's stipends for that. There are stipends that are available through whether like a Western Zone supplement. If they're working out in Indiantown, there's another supplement for that. That's an option for them to, get. There's also, I mean, there's so many different things that can be done, but, some of them get to the point where they're maxing out a salary, and that's hard.
Right.
So we're trying to do the best we can with the budget that we have.
Now, another subject, Jen, artificial intelligence is rapidly changing education.
Mhm.
What role should AI play in Martin County classrooms and where should limits be placed?
Well, I'll tell you, when it comes to AI, we were actually featured on the news last year. One of our teachers at Hopestown Elementary had you know, taken that and used it for the things that she's doing in the classroom. AI is not going away. So our superintendent has really embraced that and saying, hey, since it's not going away, how can we make this fit into our everyday lives? How can it be useful and be used properly, especially with helping teachers with their time management, because they have so much going on and there's so many things that are required of them. And so if there's a way that I can help with time management for them, I think, that is so beneficial.
Would you support expanding the Guardian program?
I am always for improving safety. That is a huge deal. It's very important. When it comes to the Guardian program, When we did our last contract with the sheriff's department, parents were very vocal. They did not want the guardian program. They wanted to make sure the sheriffs were in. So I mean, and that's important. It is, but that is also another option to us. And so I always keep an open mind when it comes to critical decisions like this. I don't ever want to be closed minded to anything because every year is different. There's different things that are brought forth to us, and we try to make the best decisions that we can with the information that we have. So I'm not closed to it, but as of right now, we are obviously with the sheriff's department and they do such a great job. And I see the being in the classrooms and being at the schools every week, you see the relationships that our SROs actually build with the students. And it's neat to watch.
Naturally. Thank you for that. How should the district balance parental rights with the judgment of educational professional?
Well, I think it's a partnership. I think, parents obviously want transparency. They want to make sure that everything's going well and they want to have a voice. Parent or our teachers, they want to feel respected for the job that they're doing and what they've learned, the knowledge that they have. So I feel like it's more of a partnership that the more the communication is better, the better it is for the student. And they're the ones that end up, succeeding.
Right.
But the communication there has to be that mutual respect there. And for each role each party plays.
Now, library books and instructional materials continue to be a topic of debate throughout Florida. What standards should be used when determining whether materials remain available in schools, and where do you believe the line should be drawn?
Well, what's great for us is we made a policy as a school board to have a committee. So we have a book review committee. It's made up of multiple different people, including teachers. And if a book is brought forth or there's something, that needs to be looked at, it goes straight to them. To date, we have not had anything come to the school board for a vote, and they follow the law. They are looking for appropriateness and they follow the law.
Excellent. The Matt Theobald matter generated significant public attention and strong opinions throughout Martin County. You were serving on the board during that time. Looking back, do you believe the board handled the situation appropriately? And is there anything you would have done differently?
Well, right now, as of last week, we had the judge's ruling come out. And so, because of that, that's actually going to put us in a position where we're going to have to vote in the future. So, I'm not going to be able to comment any further on that. But no, the decisions that I've made to date, I would not have changed.
Okay. The renovated Martin County High School pool is a significant community asset. Do you believe it should be opened more broadly for affordable swim lessons, recreational swimming, and community access? And if so, how would you balance community use with student programs, and how should those costs be funded?
Well, we actually just had a joint meeting where that was a hot topic, and we had about an hour of public comment. And at the end, our superintendent said, we are open. The pool, first of all, the pool is open just so that there wasn't any, discrepancies with that. It is open. And what can be done is a facility use agreement can be filed and they have access to it. So if this Martin Swims wants to use it, that's all they have to do. They go in and they put in a request to use it. So it is open for that. We are open to doing what they're asking. I know they're taking a look at that. So, we'll see how that goes in the future. But yes, swim lessons are important. I sit on the board for the YMCA. And that's something that, we are pushing because it is important to have students swim. And we actually have vouchers with the YMCA that we can give away for students to have free swim lessons.
Jen, there's been a lot of chatter online about why isn't the school board stopping funding to charter schools? So I just want you to opine on that just for a little bit so people understand how that funding mechanism works between the public schools and charter schools.
So we are a conduit is the best way to explain it. So for charter schools, when the money comes from the state, it passes through our accounting department and then it goes to the charter school. So, technically it's not our money. It comes through and then it goes back out straight to them and they manage it.
As a board, do you have any say in that funds going to the charter school?
No, it's state law.
What qualities do you believe are most important in an effective superintendent? And how would you evaluate whether the district is moving in the right direction?
Well, right now, we're giving every year, June, July timeframe, we are given a rubric and it gets tweaked a little bit each year because he says, hey, here's some new goals for myself. And so every year it gets a little bit different, but we have our main boxes. What I look for him is, Did you do what you said you were going to do? Are you making progress? Are you moving the needle? And based on what we're seeing each year, he's doing that. And there are always little changes and little things that, need to happen like, hey, this really needs improvement here. He does that. And so that's what I'm looking for. Did you do what you say you were going to do? And are you moving the needle?
Looking ahead
Yeah.
4 years, what would success look like for Martin County schools?
I feel like the success would look like our proficiencies raising, continuing to climb. There's more work to be done. We're not going to settle until we get to the point where we have reached the top for these kiddos. They deserve nothing less. It's important for us to keep going and making sure that all of our resources are being put where they need to be to help them with their gaps.
What is one issue facing Martin County schools that you believe is not receiving enough public attention?
I don't think that it's not necessarily that it's not receiving enough public attention, but our reading proficiency, still going back to that, I don't think people realize how important that is and what it can cause if a child does not read proficiently by third grade. You're talking behavioral issues. There's just their lack of confidence really plays a part in who they become, and it starts to shape who they are. And for me, if we can help to give them that confidence to make sure that they have all the things that they need to be successful, that is stemming from whether they can read or not. And I know it sounds like a lot's riding on it, but honestly it is. This is a way for them to provide for their families when they get older.
How much time should students spend on screens during the school day? And do you think we become too dependent on technology in education?
I would love for students to be in books, just like we were raised. I would love for that. Obviously, the reality that we live in now is requirements from DOE are all the testing. It's all online. It's all, done on a device. There's good and bad to that because I feel like obviously that's more time on a device.
Mhm.
But then at the same time, with the different PMs that we're able to do, the progress monitoring, we're getting these instant results. So we're able to say, okay, Sally is low here. We need to get on that quickly, where before you were having to wait a long time for those results. And then you're losing time with them. So in that regard, that's great. But as far as them being on screens, I wish there was a magic wand I could wave and we could not be on them as much. That would be fantastic.
So, looking back at your time on the board, what's a decision you're most proud of and one you would handle differently today?
I guess it's not necessarily one decision, but just a collective over the years of helping to support academic success. And as far as ones that I really don't feel that I would change anything, only because, just like I stated earlier, we're given information at the time and we try to make the best decision we can with the information that we were given. And so it would be the same information that was given, so I would make the same decision. And so, that's where I can't second guess myself. I have to make sure that I'm like, you know what, I did the best I could with what I had in front of me.
Why should voters renew your contract for another 4 years?
We've made such progress in the last 4 years. I mean, to get our A rating back after that 7-year lapse, to get the test scores like we've been getting, there's just so much momentum that's moving in the right direction. I want to continue that and continue to build and be a part of that and help in any way that I can. So I would be humbled and honored if they would give me another 4 years.
And finally, how can voters support your campaign and learn more about you?
Well, I have a website. There's jenrussellforschoolboard.com. I have information on there, as well as if they want a sign, they can contact me. If they want to put one in the yard, meet and greets are always great because I love to meet people and share what we're doing as a district.
Well, Jen Russell, thank you for your time here this weekend. And it's always good to catch up with you and see what the school board's been up to the last 4 years. It's been busy. You're now the incumbent. So just checking in and sharing your thoughts with the residents is very important, and we appreciate that.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Don't forget to follow the KC Ingram Show on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube for more real talk you won't hear anywhere else. I'm KC Ingram. Stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll see you on the next episode.